At this time, I'm going to open the public hearing. Mr. Alfredo, do we have any speaker requests?
Yes, Chair. First, we have Robert Kinsey. I apologize if I butcher any names. I do apologize. Was donated times by Dina and Pauline King for a total of 9 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. First off, thank you for hearing our side of the story here. You're going to hear tonight a bunch of angry people, and you know they're just mad. And though it's probably going to be a portion of it is going to be more, how would you put it, nuisance. I'm here to talk about something a little bit different for the homes along that Murray line. First thing I want to talk about, though, is due process. The due process and notification for us, I became aware of this the day the planning meeting came about. It was never sent to me personally, and I'm the homeowner. So from that standpoint, I'm reactive. And coming into this process, I'm going as fast as I can and contacting as many people as I can to find out what are my legalities here. One of the biggest things is the zoning that we're concerned about. The zoning is going from a rural RR going to an R3. Myriad is an R1. Single family homes are what's going to be all around this plot. The spot zoning that I'm calling this area is because this is in all the line of Myriad, the only one we're aware of that I've found from Wildomar that is actually condominiums or anything of that nature being sold. Multifamily homes area condensed right there. It's also, as they say, 20 feet from the border of our wall or the city wall. That border, in these pictures I sent to you, there is pictures coming from that foundation looking down in. So I'm going to start off with, on the zoning, if you take out what he has here, showing you tonight, and look at the homes all around that one parcel, all the investors, they're all single family homes. This is just one plot that comes in, going into this kind of R3 entitlement or zoning. Second thing I want to talk about is privacy. The privacy in the handouts you're going to look at, the first one comes with the church. The church, the highest point in their property line is 1181 at an elevation of their foundation. My property line, which I am the lowest house affected at 41997 Kodiak Court, is 1192 by Myriad standards. The first house that they're going to put on the property is directly behind my house, that they say between 20 and 25 feet, and that house is starting at 1201. That puts the first foundation 9 feet higher than mine, and if you take a look at it, that's going to be 20 feet higher than what's on the other side. Now, they did tell us that they're going to go ahead and put glass windows in their stains so you can't see out or smoke or fog, whatever it is. But if you take a look outside of the building, if you're standing before, tonight was the first time I heard that they're going to put up a 6-foot wall. The concern is, stand at the end of that, you're looking at those pictures directly into my house, my backyard where I have kids. The second thing is, you have multiple buildings going up, looking directly down, and they're higher as you come in. So my concern here is the privacy based on the elevation. I don't understand why the contractor wouldn't even level it out or even make it, at a line how it goes down into the next property at the church. That is directly behind my house. So that's the privacy. On those pictures, you'll see a couple of views. The first one is the elevation of the church where I circled that point of where the elevation is, 1181. Number 2 picture is from a view from the hill, standing 9 feet from my property, just standing up, taking a picture at the place where the end of the street comes in. The third picture is from the backyard looking up. We have 20-foot flagpoles that we draped across there. So when you look in there, you'll see where, based on the design given to us, what you'll see in that area. And the fourth one was from the elevations they gave you. That fourth one, the fold out, tells you from their point of view what would be looking into our yard. So that's going to change my family's style of living or life, because we're not going to be going out back when you have 3 rows of houses looking down at us. The next thing I want to talk about is the value. Now I understand I'm trying very hard to get a hold of somebody that's done something like this. Every person that comes out to do an appraisal on my house that we've talked to, we have one coming out early next week, to find out exactly what would be the depreciation value. I can't tell you. And we're still looking for it, so I haven't had time to find the right person. But in this value, I've been told it's going to be anywhere from 20% you can go down. The homes that are in Grizzly Ridge where we live, they range from $415 all the way up to $600. And I'm right there on the border of the line. So for me, I'm looking for what is that actual number, and I'm looking to find out somebody who can help me understand it. So these are the things that are up front concerning to me and to a lot of people here. I guess that's where I'm at right now, unless there's any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Way to go, Robert.
Chair, if I could just real quick address the noticing issues. We did send out notices within a 600-foot radius of the project site. That's twice what our zoning laws require. We also posted a notice in the press enterprise within the required time frame. So anyone living beyond 600 feet would not get a notice. And so we use the latest county assessor tax roll information. So those are the address labels that we produced and sent out.
But I'm a homeowner and I never had anything assigned to me, so when I'm within 600 feet to that, nothing ever came to my name. Number 2 is, isn't there supposed to be a sign posting out there for something going on? Even to this moment, you go out there, nobody can see that. No, there's been no posting of anything, even for tonight's meeting. The way I found out was somebody coming by and going, hey, are you going to the meeting tonight? That was the first initial meeting. So even if it's due process, it would just be a start over. I understand that. But it's the fact that we didn't have the time to really react, is all I'm bringing up.
I can address real quick the posting. We do not have that requirement in our zoning code. Other agencies do post the board on the property, identifying that there will be a hearing on a particular project. As the commission knows, we're bringing, we're bringing a code amendment actually to commission at the next meeting in 2 weeks to do just that. So in the future, we'll have 4x6 boards on our development sites, identifying that there will be a public hearing. But at this time, it's not in our code. It's not legally required by state law. So that's an extra method that the city is choosing to move down to create a better identification of what is coming up on a particular vacant lot.
Thank you, Mr. Massey. Thank you. Mr. Garcia, any more speakers?
Yes, we have Mr. Ken Mays.
All right, I'm going to start with my concerns concerning Wildomar. On the MND on page 99, which lists the current city parks inventory, was changed to reflect the number of parks, but it's still wrong. It reads 3, and it should be 4 or 5 depending. These numbers are important. I believe Grove Park is technically not a city park. It is not a separate parcel, but a part of Lot 1 of a commercial parcel of the Grove Park multi-use development project. It has never been formally accepted into Wildomar Park System, therefore it should not be counted as a park. The total number of parks should be 4, with a total acreage of 42.03. This includes the east side parcel turned over by the county. This is important because the citizens of this community need to know there's an extreme shortage of public parkland, and they need to know exactly how many acres we have. I also see that this developer is going to be paying into the Measure Z parcel tax, but there's no number here as to what they're paying towards the Quimby fee and the park's infrastructure fee. These numbers are supposed to be separated out in part of these reports when these resolutions are voted on. Otherwise, how can a commission or the city council make an informed decision? Plot plan resolution 2017-10. LU 4.1, the proposed project will accommodate a land use development proposal that is located and designed to visually enhance and not degrade the character of the surrounding areas. LU 22.10, the proposed project is designed to consider the surrounding areas to visually enhance and not degrade the appearance of adjacent residential structures. Single-family attached dwellings do not fit the surrounding area, which is entirely single-family detached homes or rural residential properties. The current neighborhood of 15 homes bordering this project will be faced by 60 attached homes towering over them. The entire project will have 440 bedrooms that can house up to 1,035 new residents. This is a degradation of the neighborhood. LU 22.1, proposed project will accommodate the development of single-family attached dwellings in an area that is appropriately designated by the general plan with the approval of the GPA. This is not a single-family detached dwelling. It's a single-family attached dwelling. The overall development of land shall be designed to conform to the logical development of the land and to be compatible with the present and future logical development of the surrounding property. Only upon approval of a change of zone will the proposed Camelia Townhouse project meet this finding. It currently does not. The plot plan considers the location and need for dedication and improvement of necessary streets, sidewalks, including the avoidance of traffic congestion. Evidence contains the following: these improvements will include traffic signals. That is not true. The developer will pay into an account for this future feature. They will not install them. If this project is approved now is the time for a traffic circle, because stop signs and a stoplight is a total disaster. You're changing 130 years of traffic flow, completely changing it by hooking Jefferson to Palomar. That's all I have to say.
Hold on. Please, we need to have a little decorum here. If you're in agreement with the speaker, I would ask that you raise your hand. You're fine to support him, but please, let's kind of keep it down. Thank you. Mr. Garcia, do we have any more speakers?
Yes, we have Mr. Pete Key with donated minutes from Kathy Key and Lisa Rains for a total of 9 minutes.
Chairperson and council. I'd like to start with a little background. My name is Donald Key, but my friends and neighbors call me Pete, so there'd be no confusion. I live at 42001 Kodiak Court in Marietta, and my property does back up to this proposed project. I live there with my wife Kathy and a 91-year-old mother-in-law. I worked for Verizon in New Jersey for 38 years as their construction manager, responsible for building all their new buildings and any alterations to their 300 and some buildings. So I'm pretty familiar with construction projects, both sides of the fence, both as a developer and having to work with adjacent property owners and municipalities. Our first notification, as mentioned before, was in the mail just prior to the first meeting Mr. Markham had, the workshop. That was scheduled and held on March 6th. We had a small turnout due to the late notice, but did express our concerns. And the second workshop was held on the 27th, which provided little to no satisfactory solutions to our problems. So after receiving and reviewing the notice of public hearing sent to us from your board, we have listed major objections to this project designated as the Camelia Communities Project 37156. We hand-delivered, hand-signed sheets to the city clerk starting on Monday. And as of this evening, Alfredo's received some more. As suggested in the public notice, it says, if you challenge the project in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised at the public hearing described in this notice, or in written correspondence delivered to the city clerk at or prior to the meeting. In an effort, and I understand you've received copies of this, in an effort to familiarize people here that have not read or received or had an opportunity to this, I'd like to just run through that letter for public consumption. City of Wildomar Planning Commission regarding this project. To whom it may concern, the proposed construction project of Project 37156 consists of 163 single-family attached dwellings, units with related recreation and landscape amenities on an on-site, off-site improvements. Pursuant to the City of Wildomar's Planning Commission public hearing scheduled for the 5th, the following is a breakdown of the issues, fears, and concerns of both the residents of Wildomar and the residents of Marietta, both adversely affected by this project and the residents of Marietta in general. I'll start with number 1. Changing the zoning from RR to R3 adjacent to existing single-family resident properties. Invasion of privacy, increased traffic, increased pollution, increased noise. Dangerous ingress and egress off of Palomar Road. Potential of increased level of crime, i.e. burglary. Lack of adequate police coverage, especially in the evening hours. Blocking of long-standing landscape views. Setback and elevation concerns. Devaluation of property values, especially on the homes on the Marietta side of this project. Construction noise, dirt, debris, impact on our homes, quality of life, and health. Introduction of new trees, plants, and shrubbery, which may bring in insects and disease that impact our existing landscaping. Insect and mosquito habitat increase brought on by the creation of a new water runoff containment area. The zoning change will clear the way for additional Wildomar medium to high density projects affecting long-range pollution and traffic conditions in a negative way in the Palomar-Clinton-Keith area. Proposed planting plan will not provide adequate privacy for adjacent Marietta homeowners. The proposed site plan shows recreational area being concentrated at the eastern tip of the site. This leaves the 20-foot bordering the Marietta-Wildomar City Wall as an alternate and unintentional consequence for children and adults to congregate, again, a privacy issue. Unadvertised local school impact to both Wildomar and Marietta school systems. And due to proposed elevations, runoff will impact the Wildomar side of our city block wall. We also challenge the validity of the developer's impact studies on traffic, noise, water, environmental, and any and all other studies obtained to support the construction of this project, including compliance with all CEQA requirements. In addition, we request a postponement of the decision to change the zoning from RR to rural residential to R3, general residential, or delay approval of this project until the opponents have had adequate time to evaluate our options. We were not notified of this project until we were invited to the workshop on March 6th. We, the residents of Marietta and Wildomar, request that the Planning Commission and or any other Wildomar departments involved in this project review the aforesaid and address our concerns at the Planning Commission meeting on the 5th. At this point in time, legal counsel has advised us that the most critical issues for our bordering neighbors is the overpopulated site plan. grade level of adjacent proposed townhome structures, privacy, and the loss of property values as a result of having 27-foot tall, two-story buildings looming over our second floor bedroom windows. In closing, as I do, my neighbors request that you seriously consider our petition to reject the approval of this construction and appropriately pass a negative review to the City Council and to Mr. Nordquist, your City Manager. Thank you. I do want to emphasize one thing I think kind of got passed around real easy. The elevation is 9 feet higher than our slabs, and that starts the 27-foot tall building. So in 5 years, the trees that they're proposing to put in will just cover the first floor windows of these two-story buildings. And Mr. Kinsey supplied pictures. I didn't see them on the board, so I'm not sure if we can see them.
I could try and load it sometime, but
Because we did take the effort to go out there and try to simulate the end of these buildings at the grade that they showed and try to extend flagpoles to give a profile of the end of these buildings. It's offensive, to say the least, to have these buildings look into our second floor bedroom windows. They are higher than that, and we have two-story buildings. So it needs to be addressed. There's got to be a compromise someplace, and so far we haven't seen it except for frosted windows and some bushes that are 3 foot to go in. And with a promise of 5 years, they might be better. So, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Any questions?
Mr. Garcia, do we have any more speakers?
yes, Chair, we have Don Morrison.
Good evening. Like my neighbors, I am not in favor of this project at all. It's going to decrease our property values, it's going to decrease our privacy, and decrease our quality of living. Like many of you, you may have grown up here, or you may have come from another area. We love our neighborhood. I have been here for 15 years. These neighbors are like my family. And to see this coming into our community is a terrible thing. To have this project looming over our homes is a potential nightmare. I've been a member of public safety for over 20 years. Most recently, I've transferred from the police department to the fire department, so I can tell you all about crime and fire. This project is, as you know, in a high fire severity zone. With the timber, the lumber that's coming in, many of you may remember Murrieta had a fire 10 years ago at Madison and Juniper, a townhome complex. A contractor was negligent and a fire ignited. If there was a fire to ignite during this process of construction, the consequences would be catastrophic to our neighborhood. We would lose it. Station 75, as you know, is off of Clinton Keith, west of Bear Creek. The NFPA standard generally says you need a 6-minute response. If that station is committed to a call in La Cresta or farther into Wildomar, we're going to have a serious problem. Santa Ana winds coming from the north, blowing hot in the summertime, we're going to have a problem. Murrieta, as you know, has 6 stations. The closest one being off of Caidosa, Oro, and Vineyard. They're coming from a long ways away. Like I said, I'm not in favor of this project. I hope that you do not approve it, at least the zoning change from rural residential to R3. Please help us be good neighbors and help us protect our investment. I understand that they have an investment too. I've been here for 15 years raising a family, and I ask that you preserve or help us preserve our wonderful neighborhood. Thank you.
Next, we We have Tim Huizenga for donated minutes from his wife, Ev Huizenga, for a total of 6 minutes.
Hello, thank you. My name is Tim Huizenga. I live on Kodiak Court, part of the ones that are looming underneath these giants. Tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a contractor since 1971, heavy equipment company. I build industrial, commercial storage units. I also retired 15 years ago, but I still am a president of 2 development companies, and I know all about this development game that's trying to be pulled here. First off, my companies, I've both inactivated them now due to the property values. I still own 4 pieces of property that I'm waiting to develop on. I have been turned down by 4 cities, by the city council for rezoning of these. And I understand why, because I'm trying to stick an elephant in the middle of a residential. So what I would ask you people to do the same thing here. We don't need this condominium complex in our backyard. So to start, I'd like to make 2 points and leave the property devaluation and all the fancy talk to the others. I do plan on participating in whatever they decide to do on the recovery of our loss of income and value of these houses. My first point is the border of Wildomar and Marietta is about 5 miles long. Now, I realize that Marietta built all these houses and everything long before Wildomar was here. But when Marietta did their general plan, they kept the future neighbors in mind, and out of pure respect to the rural lifestyle of Wildomar, they only allowed single-family homes on the entire 5-mile border. They conformed to the existing properties. That means there isn't one apartment, there isn't one condominium, there isn't one townhouse, there isn't one trailer park, there's no commercial parks, there's no self-storage zones, there's no RV storage zones, anywhere on Marietta's border where it touches Wildomar. And that's out of pure respect the city did, even though you weren't a city yet, it was a respect for the future city of Wildomar. Nothing except homes to conform with the Wildomar zoning or to compete with the Wildomar zoning and their way of life. This was done out of respect, again, to be good neighbors. In fact, the biggest lots in every tract was placed along your fence. Every one of the lots that were in question here, and along the whole thing, you can see this sign over there, is between 1/4 and 1/2 acre. When I moved in here, the first thing I did to see what the zoning was behind my house, because I had the fear of somebody coming along and putting apartments or condos or thing. I was assured that it was R1. I figured rural residential zoning, that's 2 houses per acre. That's beautiful. I can live with that. I think the whole community could live with that. When I heard, and like I hear these guys talk about, the first thing I heard about this is now it's high density housing is going to be allowed on this one little portion of our tract. The whole rest of it, as you can see on this map over here, is all rural residential in the whole area, except for right behind these houses. After Marietta had done everything to make the line nice for you guys, I take this as a personal insult living in Marietta, and it will be a thumb in our eye. I take that if you guys allow condominiums overlooking our residents. The point 2, and I know there's been some talk about this, but I'll make it fast. The traffic study, I read the traffic study. It's incomplete. Yes, it takes in consideration the impact of the 163 condos will generate. But my point is much bigger than that. It's going to affect the whole city of Wildomar and the whole city of Marietta. Right now, Jefferson is the busiest north and south street in the entire valley. The reason for this is it's the only alternate route for the north and southbound traffic on the 15 freeway. You can use Jefferson to bypass the freeway all the way from California Oaks or Camelia, all the way through Marietta, Temecula, and go all the way down Jefferson to Old Town Marietta, or Temecula, excuse me. With this project, you are connecting Jefferson directly with Palomar, which will now make the only and the biggest north-sound alternate to the 15 freeway go right straight through your little sleepy town. This will connect through Palomar, up Mission, right onto Railroad Canyon Road. So people are going to use that to get away from the busy 15 freeway, and you're going to turn that Palomar into a major, serious highway. It will also open that long freeway alternate. This will put massive traffic on Palomar and the residential portion of Marietta. In fact, I went online and looked at the future plans of Marietta on the expanded traffic patterns, and it shows, and I brought little maps here, I only got a couple of them for anybody who wants to see them, but it shows an expected future traffic count on Jefferson at Camelia, whatever the street is, of 60,000 cars a day. It also shows expanding Jefferson to 6 lanes all the way to the Wildomar city line.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you're out of time.
Oh, with my wife too? Okay. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
It does allow 31,700 cars to merge on Jefferson and Washington to go through your town.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia, any more speakers?
Yes, Chair, we have DJ Williams.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is DJ Williams, and I also live in the cul-de-sac on Kodiak Court. A lot of my neighbors have talked about the value of our homes, the privacy. Those issues are paramount to all of us, and I believe they'd be paramount to you when you're looking at something impeding into your privacy and the sanctity of your home environment. I have daughters, and when in my backyard, with it being open, I have an issue with people looking into, on my young daughter to my older daughters. That's a concern. A lot of my neighbors, they have daughters, young children as well, those things. And then when we start talking about this high density, the high density that's coming, no one's really talked about the police response. So Wildomar is covered by RSO, and they only have one person patrolling at night. And for nuisance calls, Marietta's not going to come, so if we have people that in that runoff, they're not going to come and respond to that. So we're going to have one person. So that hasn't been adequately addressed. And then when we talked about some of the traffic studies, they're talking about making the lanes, the 2 lanes to 4 lanes, but that still will remain a 2-lane highway, a 2-lane bridge crossing going east-west right there right outside the school. So it doesn't talk about that. So you're going to take 4 lanes and then turn it into 2 and then open up right back into 4. Yeah. I don't know how you go to a bottleneck and it's going to improve traffic. Vector control, are we talking electronic, are we talking chemical? Those things are issues because as a pool owner, if I'm going to have rodents and things in my pool, then it's not only going to take a cleaning, but maybe some servicing as well as pertains to things getting in my filter and my motors. So we really have a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and we feel as if we're not getting an opportunity for them to be heard. And I just would like you guys to really consider some of those things because it is painstaking that just 30 short days, 30, 40 days ago, we get wind of this when there's a meeting, when we could have had a little more time to, come up with different issues as pertains to that, because it does feel as if no one's hearing our concerns. So I'd like that to be noted, because again, if the zoning is for rural residential to high density, again, a house is a house, but like the previous gentleman said, over 1,000 bedrooms, that's a lot to be looking right down upon you. So I just would like those things to be considered so, we all can be good neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Garcia, any more speakers?
Erika Vaughn.
Okay, hi, my name is Erika and I'm a resident. I live on the border, 23516. And anyhow, of course, I'm completely against this. My husband and I were thrilled to find this property. It's rare to find a home that has such a huge yard and such privacy. We looked everywhere. But we did assume maybe one day it would be developed. However, we never imagined a nightmare that this Camelia property is. So my husband and I, we did our research, we looked at the map, and we see what you see. It looks kind of pretty on paper. Okay, homes here, we have this little section, and you know, we're gonna have commercial over here, so having this high density kind of makes sense when you look at it on the paper. So what I'm here to do is to represent to you what my fellow neighbors is what you can't see when you look on that paper. And it's hard for us not to get emotional because you can't see it looking at your map. Mainly we have a unique landscape. We have a hill, and you can't see that in the drawing. And it slopes down from Jefferson all the way down to Wildomar, to Palomar. So most of our homes have that hill slope in the backyard anyhow, and now we're going to have another home above this. The planner, he came up here with his slideshow presentation. There's still a slide left up. He showed a side view of, and I jotted it down while he was presenting. It was number 6 pad, for example, and it's a 27-foot building height, but adding to the 16 feet to the ground level pad of number 6 pad, that means that building is 43, you can see it, I just calculated, you guys can quickly check to make sure I'm correct, but from that building number 6 pad, the home at 23504 is at 1195. The pad for building number 6 is at 1211, so that's approximately 16.1 feet taller than the base of that backyard. And the building itself, based on their drawing they gave me, is 27 feet 4 inches tall. So that means that based on the backyard of this particular home, my neighbor's home, it's 38 feet standing on the back wall. And that is, we measured it from our house. It's a 24-degree angle standing at the back of our wall, looking out into our backyard at this new proposed building. And you can't see that looking on this map, that we're talking monsters standing up. And I have pictures all past you. They did say frosted glass windows, which does obscure some privacy, but we're talking a wall. It's almost like a skyscraper. My pool is 5 feet from this, maybe 10 feet at the most from the wall that we're talking about here. It's going to be like a skyscraper for my pool. We're going to be sitting there, and it's going to be 27, this is from the wall, so it's extremely high. Let me hurry and get to my point, so I might be out of time. It will reduce sunlight.
You are out of time.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, well, another thing is it reduces sunlight, and it's special to us, and you guys have a chance to make something special for the citizens of Wildomar as well.
Mr. Garcia, any more speakers?
That is all the speakers I have, Commissioner, or Mr. Chair. However, also for the record, the USB that was provided to staff, our computer isn't recognizing it. It is an older computer, however, tonight I can try and download it with my staff computer upstairs and email it to the commission if they like.
Yes.
We do have another speaker that came in while Mr. Markham was doing his presentation.
Okay. Would you,
Ryan Vaughn.
okay.
Hi, my name's Ryan, and I just wanted to, if the R3 approval was mentioned, I just wanted to mention one other thing that my wife was unable to mention. And when we looked at the additional properties that were in the whole valley, pretty much, we tried to do a survey of the areas of the additional townhomes and apartment complexes of similar nature, and most every single complex that we came across was not on a border with one of the residential homes. The few that we did see that would border homes similar to ours were all at a level similar to or below the established homes, and almost every site that we looked at, well, all sites were at level or below the sites of the existing homes there, and the only exception, I don't have the note right here, but there was one exception, and it was built at the same time, so it was not an existing home. So that was one of our bigger concerns, and if it was, if we got to the next stage, because I know we're talking about approving, one, the zoning, and then secondly, the prospective plan of the said development, and with that, if you did decide that you're gonna develop to change to an R3 designation, then I would say that most of my neighbors here would like to at least look at whether the 20 feet is really the appropriate distance from the existing homes, or if a further setback would be more warranted. So that's really all I have to say.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia? Anybody else?
I believe Robert?
Yes, I just, I wanna make.
Well, sir, if you need to come forward.
Otherwise it doesn't get recorded, sorry.
Do you have, we can't give you any more
Only
time.
donated minutes from someone to
Did he?
choose.
You can take mine.
Do you have somebody donate?
You can take mine.
Go ahead and speak.
We'll need a name,
Okay,
a name who's donating the minutes.
Michelle Russo.
okay.
Sharon Cartwright. Connie Shamlin.
Joe Roja.
Gloria Humphrey. Rosie
Thank you.
You've heard from a lot of people tonight, and one of the comments you have right here in this picture, what's not being portrayed here is when you see this wall, that's a foot shorter than what the foundation is that has been presented to us. In this picture right here, and this is what we took, everything they gave us from the planning, the foundation is 1 foot higher than that 6 foot wall. So we went out there and we've taken tape lines, we did everything we could to try to resemble what was given to us. So this is from a wall from our supposedly perspective. And the foundation of every one of those homes is at 1 foot higher. And when we first met, and this came in our first meeting, the comment that was made about, well, we can't grade down. This is just a bump of dirt. We've had this dirt there, it's just a little hill. If you take a look from our foundation, there's nothing there that would prevent it from going down, even to go to street level. The problem there is going to be the removal of dirt, the actual cost of moving it away, is what I think the problem is. I'm looking at it here though from a privacy perspective in the pictures I showed. There you go. That picture right there is standing our feet at the proposed level and just stood there and took a picture of it. And that's in my backyard where the cars are driving in, based on the design they gave. And that does not take into consideration the houses that are up above it, looking out their windows that are not stained, looking directly in. And that picture right there is at the front of the very first building, looking out right into our yard. And what you see right there are the pictures of the 20-foot flagpoles. Those are 20 feet. You gotta figure it goes above that, at the foundation they gave us. And if you see we put the ladder there just so you can see that's a 6 foot ladder if you scroll up. That's a 6 foot ladder against a 6 foot wall, and the foundation start above that.
Wow.
So I've heard, and we've heard them all, like I said, we just haven't had the chance to really soak in what it is that's coming into us. It's our privacy that we're worried about here in this one. So, thank you.
Thank you, Robert.